YouTube? Alex from the Cam, back here with another video. Chat, we have an interesting video today. Detransitioning. She regrets transitioning from a female to a male. Yo, let's get right into this video. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Join the crew. You already know what it do, baby boo, shoo. Boo!
I was born biologically female. I began transitioning and taking hormones when I was 18 years old. Growing up, I couldn't pinpoint what my issues were, and then I realized that it might be a gender issue. When I turned 18, I did go to Planned Parenthood. I just stated that I had gender dysphoria, and they gave me testosterone a week later.
Okay, for a minute there, I was like, wait, if she was a female, like born a female, why does she have like a deep voice? Duh, she's on testosterone, okay.
I went on hormone therapy. I wasn't required to see any therapist or any sort of a doctor at all. So about a year and a half after I was on hormones, I decided to see a therapist about getting approval for top surgery. I walked in on one appointment for half an hour, and then she emailed my insurance for approval, just like that. Even at this point,
damn, not easy.
As a man, I still had these doubts in the back of my mind that said, what if you're wrong? What if you made a mistake? In the end, I decided not to do the surgery. At that point that I decided to detransition and live my life as a woman again. Even as an adult, it took me a long time to figure out who I was and who I wanted to be. Kids especially need to see a therapist before making any sort of permanent medical decisions like going on hormone blockers.
Absolutely. If you guys are young and you guys are thinking about your sexuality and certain things like that, I will say, you know, give it time. I cautiously say this because clearly I'm a straight guy. I don't know what it's like to go through something like this, like having those thoughts. However, I am very open-minded. And how would I say this? Like, I don't judge people that, you know, have these kind of thoughts and have these kind of situations come up in their life where they're like, I don't know if I want to be a male or a female. Like, I understand it.
Surgeries especially. I mean, they don't even know what they want for dinner the next day, let alone what gender they are. The biggest mistake that I made is that I did not get the right amount of therapy or medical advice needed. These days, if you tell a parent if their child thinks that they might be transgender or has gender dysphoria, to wait and really consider it, maybe seek other therapy. You're just seen as transphobic now because you're not accepting people. I'm not anti-trans at all. I support the trans community very much, but I also support medical responsibility.
Facts. And one thing also too what I was thinking about was nowadays you see the transgender and gay community growing, but when you're at a certain age, when it comes to being transgender, I will say, like, my opinion, yo, it's just a little bit different. If you want to change your sex and do all that, I would always advise for it to wait, especially when you're at a young age. If you're older, by all means, do what you want to do. But when you're young, still living with your parents, I think it's that time to really, like she said, just seek therapy or something along those lines. Like, you know, just wait on it.
If you question this at all, you get labeled really quickly, correct?
You do, immediately as transphobic.
Why do you think that is?
I think that a lot of the transgender community, they push so much for acceptance that when you immediately, like, or anytime you start to, like, question them, even if it's, like, out of the kind of goodness of your heart to try and make sure that they're making the right decision, anything that goes against their narrative is just immediately labeled as transphobic.
Now, after you started to transition, how else did you begin to change your life to live as a man?
I had changed my name. I started wearing a binder. I even moved cities because at the time I was very hesitant to actually come out to my coworkers. So I moved about 4 hours away, got a completely different job, and introduced myself as a trans man.
Okay.
Wow.
And what happened when you began to schedule time to get a double mastectomy?
I haven't had any top surgeries, but I did get approved for it.
Okay, that's what it is. You got approved for it.
I got approved. And how that worked, it was...
Really quick, chat, I really want to say, I don't know if she's still on the hormones, but, like, I'm wondering right now, based off of her voice, like, if she's off of it, how long does it take for her voice to go back to normal? I would like to know that, because, like, I do hear still a little raspiness / depth in her voice, and I'm like, she's a female and now she's starting to, you know, be that. But also too, it's like, when is your voice gonna change back? Or maybe that's her voice already, I don't know.
Fairly easy to do because I had just called a therapist and I had scheduled one appointment, for like a 30-minute session to talk about it. And I essentially walked in, I said, I identify as transgender and I want to get top surgery. And we chatted for a bit, maybe for half an hour. And at the end of the session, she wrote me an approval letter to send to my insurance. And then I got approved just like that.
Wow.
When you first started, you went in, you said, to Planned Parenthood.
Yes.
and they gave you testosterone immediately.
Yeah, I essentially just made a phone call and said I want to transition, and it was immediately given.
It was that easy?
And went to pick it up like a week later.
I'm not trying to make fun of this, but I'm gonna say my truth, and I'm gonna say what I'm thinking right now, right? I thought if Planned Parenthood is giving out testosterone that easy, I'm thinking about getting some kind of testosterone because I want to get bigger in the gym. Is that wrong to say? Let me stop.
Did they ask you questions? Did they do any psychological testing? Did they ask you why? What was your motive?
It was completely self-diagnosed. Well, self-diagnosed. I claimed that I had gender dysphoria and I wanted to transition, and they didn't really ask me any questions about it. I just called them and I said, when can I get this?
Whoa.
And they just said they needed to write me a prescription for it and send it. And that's essentially
You
what
had no
happened.
proof that you were
I never
gender
saw a therapist about
dysphoric.
it.
You didn't.
Yeah, I didn't talk to anyone about it. Nobody medically professionally. I had just looked up. I did some like trans research, I guess, into the transgender community and everybody online, and they just seemed so happy and successful. And at the time, I didn't see any information on detransition or any like the negatives about it. And so I kind of got completely wrapped into that.
Gender dysphoria can be a miserable way to live if that's what they're experiencing. And there are criteria for that. And one of the criteria is time, that is persistent across time. But you didn't have any of those criteria. You didn't demonstrate that. You didn't document that. You didn't have any professional that documented that.
Nope.
Whoa. All she did was just call. I need y'all to understand that. Like, she just was like, hey, boom, 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 boom. They were like, okay, let me write you this and you'll be good to go. Chad, that's low-key dangerous. I don't know if you guys understand that, but like, that's actually dangerous. Like, I feel like there needs to be some kind of like check-in with some kind of medical professional where they evaluate your mind and certain things like that, to where they actually diagnose, okay, yeah, boom, boom. But the fact that anybody, any male, female can just call and say this, that's crazy.
You said, I want testosterone, they gave it to you.
Yeah, I had confused, because I had become uncomfortable with how society had seen me as a woman sexually, and I had confused that, being uncomfortable with my gender, as gender dysphoria, and being uncomfortable with my body. So I didn't actually have gender dysphoria. I had just confused myself into thinking that I did.
Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.
Whoa, y'all. She started to detransition because she realized that she was thinking a certain way about being a woman. It wasn't actually gender dysmorphia. Chat, let me know what you guys think about this. Let me know if you went through something similar. Once again, I'm a straight guy, but I'm open-minded to, other thoughts, okay? I don't judge people in that kind of way. I know there's people out there in this world that do, but just want to let y'all know, like, I want people to do them, honestly. At the end of the day, it has nothing to do with me. So I'm not the type to be like, hey, do you? The only thing I have to say about this video is, once again, if you're young, okay, below 18, and you're feeling some type of way about gender, or you think you have gender dysmorphia, I would just say seek some kind of medical like evaluation, okay, or a therapist or something like that. Talk to somebody before you even start to take hormones and take actions. But other than that, you guys, let me know your opinion in the comment section down below. This was an interesting video. I love all my supporters. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Y'all like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Join the crew. You already know what to do, baby boo shoot. Ooh, I'll see you guys in my next video. Y'all have a blessed day. Later.
Spinning the cake, riding the cake, give me the cake.